Hello everyone, it's Kayla. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. Today I will be doing a tutorial on how to make perfumes at home. One of the reasons this is such an important thing to learn is because a lot of mainstream perfumes use ingredients that can be harmful to your health or trigger allergies. I'm sure that many of you who have used perfumes before have at least sneezed because of it, if not had some sort of reaction to something you use, or if you smell a perfume that's floral, you go, oh, I really don't like floral perfumes, they really trigger my allergies. So reasons for that would be mainstream perfumes use something called fragrance quite often. And you might look at that and think, oh, well, that sounds nice. That must be some nice natural floral scent or something of that nature. It's not. It's a mixture of different chemicals. The reason I'm not specifying the chemicals is because it can be any mix of chemicals. So any company using any mix of chemicals can label that as fragrance on the bottle. So you won't even know which chemicals they are. And besides that, there is an ingredient called liliol, and this ingredient can cause issues with your reproductive system as well as triggering allergies. And that's an ingredient that is even used in a Calvin Klein Escape perfume. So that is the reason that it is so important to learn how to create your own perfume. If you're sensitive to those things, or you're just not interested in mainstream perfumes anymore, or you want to make your own perfumes so you can sell them. So right here, I do have some things that you're going to need in order to make your own perfume. So you need a container that you're going to put the mixture in when it goes into the fridge. You're going to need either almond oil or jojoba oil, a measuring cup, and I don't have it over here right now, but I will show it during the tutorial. You do need something that can drain the oil and fruit mixture. But the most important thing to keep in mind here is that despite me showing these recipes, these can be varied any way you want and can be modified based on a budget that you're willing to spend. You can get a fruit that's cheaper than what I showed. You can use something more expensive. If you don't want to use fruit, there is a way to use flowers, although I don't believe it's the same process, so you should definitely double check that. And I will include sources at the end of the video, which is where I got the information I already stated, and it's what you can look at in order to determine what you are actually going to make. Alright, on to the tutorial. Alright, so in order to start actually making the perfume, you are going to need some sort of fruit. I personally am going to be using blueberries because that's what I have available to me, but you can use any fruit you want, and fruits with stronger scents are recommended in order to have a stronger scent overall. So what you would do is for blueberries, I would say take about 5 or 6 for a container of this size. If you have a bigger container, you can use a bigger amount. And I am just going to cut these into thirds. They don't need to be fully mashed, although if you use a blender, of course they will be that way. It's more about the premise of making sure that the juice of the fruit is able to mix with the oil as the oil sits over it in the container. That makes sure that the scent gets all mixed together, as opposed to the fruit just kind of awkwardly sitting there and absolutely nothing happening, which is what would occur if you put it in there whole without cutting it at all. So almost done with that. Then take the container and put the fruit in. And this is going to be messy, and you probably have to wash your hands unless you choose to wear gloves. Oops. Now that I've done that, I would measure out about 25 to 30 milliliters of either almond oil or jojoba oil. Either one works. And you really just need to make sure you're measuring out enough that it will go over the fruit and completely cover it while it's busy refrigerating. And the refrigeration process, we're almost full here, is called maceration. So what happens in that process, and I'm doing this in here, is that it will sit in there with the oil over the fruit like this. Sorry, my hair stuck to me. And airtight seal, boop. You put it in there, you refrigerate it for 2 to 6 weeks. 4 to 6 is recommended for the strongest scent possible. And when it's in there, take it out every day. Shake it, shake it. And as it sits in there, the scent is going to mature as the juice mixes with the oil. And that's the important thing. You need to make sure everything is actually properly mixing together. So you need to be careful about what you put in here, which is why I'm giving very specific steps here. But obviously, if you're using this sort of container when you shake it, hold it like this. If you're using a different kind that doesn't require you to keep a secure grip, it's fine. But you don't want to have any of this spilling. It's a very specific amount. And you can always add more. But once this is done, and it's fully refrigerated for the necessary amount of time, you can use something like this, and you can separate the oil from the fruit. Now, normally you would have something under this so that it wouldn't just be draining into the sink. But the important thing here is to show that the main fruit components should be sitting on top. They should not be going inside whatever is underneath, collecting the oil. Because if the fruit pieces end up in the perfume bottle, that shelf life is going to be very short because there's nothing in there that is keeping the stuff from molding. So don't do that. But once you empty that out and you actually have it in the perfume bottle, I'm going to grab one in a second to show an example. You need to make sure that it is kept in a place that is not humid. If it is kept in a place that is humid, that will also reduce the shelf life. It is going to mold a lot quicker than it would otherwise. And you might think, well, there's no fruit in it, so it shouldn't get moldy. The fruit juice is still in there with the oil, and it's all natural stuff. So it can still get moldy. It can still have bacteria. So I personally, based on the research I've done with the sources that I will link at the end of the video, I would say a month or 2 would be the full shelf life for this. And if you want to double check that, you can. But yeah, look, this is a perfume that I already made over a month ago. And it does not have any fruit particles or pieces in it, but it's getting a little bit cloudy because it's a little bit old. So it has some bacteria in it. I would say at this stage, it's best to dump it out. The reason this is more full than you think it would be is because I recommend adding water to it when you're done. The reason for that would be it's gonna be a really thick consistency when you actually squirt it out of the bottle or put it on your wrist. If it's just the oil with the fruits in it, it's gonna be very thick. So I would say get the measuring cup again, 25 to 30 milliliters of water, add it to here, and then you should be good to go, and it should actually be a full perfume. Thank you so much to everyone who watched this video. I hope you have a good time making your own perfumes, and feel free to check out the sources at the end in order to learn more about how you can do this process properly.